Welcome to the Bullpen Report. I'm Jason Gilbo at JGilbo11. It is May 22nd, taking a look at some closer situations for your season-long needs, and a couple ones have kind of shaken up really over the last week or so. Obviously talking about the Texas situation, but looking at some injuries, obviously Brad Boxberg has been kind of a hot topic over the past few weeks here. Closer to return here. Once again, Alex Colomb still got to keeping the waitings just in case, obviously until he comes back, but even further on, just in case that transition is not as clean as the race expected to be, because Boxberg obviously could have some inconsistency, obviously coming back from an injury like that. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. One thing you should definitely do is Colomb, if you're in the holds league, obviously keep him. Great ratios there. I mean, his strikeout rate is through the roof, so you do like him a lot. But I've been talking about him quite a bit, so. Houston Street, the other one, no new name really here in this situation. Joe Smith continues to hold down the fort somewhat. Fernando Salas also picks up an occasional save. So those two guys, mainly Smith, for the time being, are going to be the guys to step in for that Angels team that's slowly coming around. So, if you're desperate for saves, I think Joe Smith's kind of the easy pickup there. The Twins, Glen Perkins news here. He's scheduled to throw a bullpen session this week, so that's something to kind of be joyous about because the Minnesota Twins have given us nothing so far. One, they don't win a ton of games, and also Kevin Jepsen, who remains in the closer role, did have a save yesterday, but also allowed a solo shot. An ERA and a FIP over 5 is not something to be thrilled about. He's also not notching a ton of saves for you to even consider with his ERA. So, one, I think it's just a guy to stay away from. I just think, the ERA, there's way too much negatives for me to grab just a couple of saves. So, but he should be back. Another guy here, Joaquin Benoit, back in action. One thing here is Seattle here, Chisek has 5 earned runs over the last 3 outings. Got to keep an eye on there. It's something that could possibly develop into a possible situation where Benoit comes in because he would be the first one to get a shot at closing if he has another couple of outings like he has over the last few. But he's been solid, 11 saves on the season, 28.7% strikeout rate. So you got to like that. But if he does have another week where it's rough, you could possibly see something develop out there in Seattle. So keep an eye on that one. But Benoit back and healthy, and he's pitched pretty well. So. Cincinnati Bullpen, once again, has been awful. 117 earned runs allowed this year. Tony Cingrani blew another save. There's nothing, in the waitings with this team. Jumbo Diaz was optioned back down in AAA after having a nice stint down there, but obviously it didn't transition into anything into the majors. He does have swing and miss stuff, but completely erratic out there when on the hill. So this is a situation you should really just avoid in general. It's the worst bullpen ERA worst bullpen ERA in the league by far. Texas bullpen situation, Sean Tolson, another poor outing, 9.20 ERA on the season, 7 earned over the last 2, and finally Sam Dyson comes in, going to get first shots here to close the door. He doesn't have a big strikeout rate, but 70% ground ball rate. So when he does allow some runners, does have that ground ball double play potential to kind of get out of things. But obviously he's not going to get you a ton of strikeouts, nothing like that. So if you're in a need for saves, Dyson's still a fine add. Dykeman and Matt Bush can be counted on for holds. Much more bigger strikeout guys. Obviously Bush has come in and kind of been a flash in the pan so far, been a little bit productive in his first few outings, and there's a lot to like. Dyson, on the other hand, should be in line for kind of some safe saves going forward. If there's any slip up, those two would be kind of guys to keep an eye on as they would step into that role. So a couple of guys who have been really delivering here. Jake McGee, 4 saves here over the last week. You got to like that. G-Mark Gomez continues to be efficient, 4 saves. And once again, Aroldis Chapman's coming in and dominating. So kind of the usual suspects there. Zach Britton, after coming back from injury, has been dominant since then. So the usual guys are kind of producing. There's a lot of negative news in the bullpen report, so maybe we should link in some good guys like that, and that's been the case. So if you have them, lucky to own them. Of course, closer isn't usually always popular, but McGee's been pretty solid. That's going to wrap things up here with the Bullpen Report. Check out Fantasy Baseball Cafe for all great content.